all we got to do is simply, there we go. Hello, this is Jake and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a new Titanic series on the channel because you guys just love the Titanic content and I love working on the Titanic models. In this series I will be building a wreck of the Titanic in 1/1200th. I will be building the bow section and the stern section. They will be both on this piece of board right here. Bow this end, stern this end. I've never done the stern wreck before, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how this one goes, and then I will be building the stern wreck in 1/400th, which is going to be even more interesting because of bigger scale. Now, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the wreck of the Titanic because we are working in a smaller scale and everything, but I will try my best to get it as accurate as possible. And because the stern section, as you guys all know, if you follow Titanic, the stern section is in a complete mess. So building that to make it look like it does in real life is going to be quite tricky, but I want to try it out, see how we go, and then I will later on in the year work on a 1/400th scale. So if you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I got plenty of Titanic content coming over this year and next, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you updates on the Trumpeter Titanic plus a really big model Titanic that I could be starting in the summer, which should be very interesting. What do I need? Well, first of all, I need a model of the Titanic. So I picked this one up off Amazon. I think it was about $7.99. There will be a link in the description where you can buy yours. It was on offer. I don't know if it's on offer now. It might still be. I've mentioned it before. I've built plenty of these over the years, but I've never actually completed one. I've never fully completed one. So before we actually jump in opening this one up and showing you what it comes with and actually start work on a diorama, I thought I'd better just tell you about the actual schedule and what episodes are coming in this series. So the first episode is going to be today. We're going to have a look at the actual model, cut it up, just place out roughly where it's going to go. The second episode is actually going to be working on the actual base of the model, getting that all ready and everything, so we can get the seabed and all that sort of mark up where the actual wreck sections are going to be, bow and stern. The third episode we will be taking a look at detailing the actual bow of the ship up, putting that in place and everything. Then the fourth episode we will be doing the same with the stern, building it, getting it as correct as possible, placing that. And then the fifth episode we'll do a complete overview of what we've done. It should be complete and everything, probably just touch up a few details, and that'll be the end of the series. So there's only got to be five episodes to the series, but that's the plan. I'm trying to stick to it this time around. So in this episode we will cut the model up, so let's get it open. Here we have our board with our model Titanic. We'll open that in a second. This is just a bit of off-cut MDF from a model railway that I was building a few years ago. I usually try and keep as much MDF as possible because building dioramas. And I can just cut them up to size. I've got two pieces behind me now that can be used for future projects as well. But let's have a look at what we get inside and start work on this new Titanic diorama. Let's open it up. There's also to note some of the ships you can buy on the back there. Quite nice. I'm actually quite fond of that USS Enterprise. I wouldn't mind trying that. Right, there we go. Make sure there's nothing else in there. I think the decals will be in here. Of course we won't be using the decals for the actual model. So, just cut that. Not the sharpest scalpel in the world. For actually cutting the model and shaping it, I'm probably going to use a Dremel, but we'll see. I'll talk you through that in a second. Move that over to one side. So here's our pieces. You can see the bow and stern there. Now the bow section's fine, and we'll have a look at sorting that out and everything in episode 3. But the actual stern, because of the actual devastation of the stern, that's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. My favourite part, of course, the bridge, like that. a deck piece, you know, your cranes, we're going to need some of the cranes, of course. That's for your plaque. And then you've got the actual plaque right here. Not going to use that. Chimneys, don't really need that unless there's any in the debris field. I'll have a look online. And then lifeboats, we ain't going to need that, but we will probably need some of the actual davits for the bow section and the debris field. And then we have our props right there with the crane on the front and more pieces. But today we are going to be looking at where the actual wreck's going to be placed. So here's your hull piece, as you can see right there. There you go, that's your hull. Okay, the only marker pen I actually got is black, so there's probably no point. But what I'm going to do is completely aft the ship. So I'm going to use just a pencil, give us a rough mark where everything's got to be. I just realised that's not aft, but okay. There we go, just so I have an idea where we're cutting. I don't know if that come up on camera, but the bow section of the actual wreck probably only comes to about here, and then the stern section probably only comes to about here roughly. So there's, you know, there's quite a bit missing in the middle, which yeah, we'll talk about that at a later date. But let's get it cut in half using some snips. So let's do this. It's not as bad as cutting the trunk to the Titanic up. That was quite devastating for some. There we go. There we go. Let's cut through that quite nicely. There we go. And then all we got to do is simply... There we go. Done. Let's just take a quick look. You can see inside there's points of where putting some of the deck stone and everything like that. Same for the stern. Now the stern does need the props fitting, which we'll do when we look at the stern in episode 4. But in episode 3, when we look at the bow, we will shape all of this back bit where the actual brake is, make sure it's the right size and all that. But today we are going to place up where they're going on the actual diorama. So let's look at the bow section first. So here is our bow section, and I'm thinking about putting it roughly about there. Now if you look at the actual scale of the wreck, which I'll put a picture in now and mark out where the bow and stern is. So it's that photo that actually inspired me to build this model of the Titanic. So let's say the bow goes somewhere there. We shall just mark that out. Bow, sorry, that's upside down for you lot. So the bow goes there. And then the stern, so the stern's gonna go somewhere roughly here. Now there's not a, you know, it's not scaled between the two, how far apart they are. I can't remember, it's something like a mile between the two. It's not 100% scaled to, you know, the distance between the bow and stern, after all. That would be something to do one day, but not in this series. But let's mark out where the stern's gonna be. There we go. Again, sorry, it's gonna be upside down. Stern and bow over there. So there you go. So the stern section, as we know, is in a pretty bad, poor state, and there's quite a lot of debris around it. Now I can't remember if the debris is this side or that side. I will double check. If that is the case, we'll probably just move it over slightly, but we'll have a closer look at that when we start doing the actual section itself in episode 4. Now it's interesting to know that obviously when the bow went down like this, it nosedived, digging the front of the bow into the sand, and the sand goes up quite a way up at the side of the ship and then works its way down. Now the bow section is, you know, bent more or less like a banana shape, which we talked about in one of the old series. So what I'm going to do is cut in here. This is what I've done with my other Titanic wreck. Cut that piece of plastic out, because that'll be hidden behind the sand itself, And then there's also where one of the expansion joints is here, it's crooked as well, like bent over, so you got a nice banana shape. And I'll cut a piece out here, and that way I can mount it, bend that back, and bend the actual bow section down like that, and we'll have a nice banana shape. Now what I see a lot of people do is actually just cut sections out here, triangles, bend it like that. But even on the bigger model, the 1/400th I'm working on, as long as you apply the right heat and cut in the right places, you can bend it without losing any of the plastic up here and everything. Same here. Now this bit's a little bit harder where the expansion joint is, because the sand bed, this actual section's on the sand bed, so you can see the side of the ship. So that's something to look at on the bigger model when we can. But I'll show you guys how we're going to do that when we look at the bow section in episode 3. Okay, so that is literally where we are at. We got our bow and our stern, and that's going to wrap it up for this episode, because there's not really much more I can do now. So in the next episode, we will be building the seabed up, and I will be using polystyrene sheets like this. The reason for that, looking at the actual aerial footage of the wreck, there seems to be a bit of a cliff, or where the seabed drops slightly. And I want to recreate that in this model, which is going to be, more or less centre between the two wrecks. I'll look more detail into it, and then when we come to doing the seabed in the next episode, we can sort that out. The good thing with using polystyrene is, because the bow section dug into the seabed, you can cut around the polystyrene, and when the bow section is the right shape, banana shape that we're going to be going for, you can dig it into the sand, technically. So what I'll do when we look at doing the seabed next episode, I'll put the polystyrene down, I'll get that all glued, ready for the episode, and then we'll be using it's wood filler basically, or wall filler, when you fill holes in your wall from like nails and that. Make it really watery, put it all down, and then you can start shaping it and everything, which is great. I do like using that stuff for that. And you can also shape the seabed how you want. You can move it around and everything when it's pretty much wet. So that'd be good. That is where we are at. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you're looking forward to this series and want to see more, I will be taking you step by step. Like I said, there's 5 episodes, and we will look at everything. So yeah, there we are. Thank you for watching. Like I said, you can actually buy this R.M.S Titanic from Amazon now. If it's still on offer for $7.99, grab it. It's an ideal kit for beginners as well. So thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon with episode 2. Bye for now.